death sentence?
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a myth.
Das heißt, das ist noch nie passiert. Ach du Scheiße.
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court. And it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice? What an unexpected twist.
Das ist wirklich eine Wendung, Alter.
Furina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us the truth.
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its recommendations for criminal sentences.
Ja.
Is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
I guess schon. Sie hat seit 500 Jahren gefälscht.
Yeah, even Vache was been sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
Aber angewiesen, dass Celestia extrem krass damit ist, kann ich mir gut sogar vorstellen. Die Oratrice hat nicht über Furina getötet, sondern über den Hydro-Archon.
Indeed. Not only is Furina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Furina has never been the Hydro Archon in the first place.
Ja.
But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon.
Huh.
Excuse me, if I may interrupt.
Remine? Was hast du denn einzuwerfen?
Is the trial still going?
Ja.
Fremine! Oh, you finally made it. I assume this means you've completed your mission?
Was hast du rausgefunden?
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me will always be top priority.
Okay. Mit Hilfe einer Angriff bringt Femini eine Steinplatte auf die Bühne. Oh!
Is that the first prophecy slate?
Oh, wie geil!
Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremine to try and find the missing slate.
Das ist sehr praktisch, okay.
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me a long time to get around some dangerous stretches of water.
Das ist sehr möglich, oh mein Gott.
Has the trial already concluded? Then doesn't that mean I've come too late?
Keine Sorge.
No. Father will be disappointed in me.
Das Geheimnis wurde noch nicht gelüftet, keine Sorge. Alles gut.
Thank you for
Jetzt
your
bin ich
hard work,
gespannt.
Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left on the slate.
Jetzt bin ich gespannt, was das zu bedeuten hat. Weil Nöblet hat die Information von den anderen 3 Platten hat er schon eingesammelt.
Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates, and would like you to come here and confirm their contents.
Können wir machen? Einen Moment. Das hier wird eine XXL-Folge. Meine Stoppuhr sagt mir, dass wir schon bei 46 Minuten sind. Es scheint, dass der ehemalige Hydro-Archon seine Giftlichkeit freisetzt, um Ekaninen in Menschen zu verwandeln.
I believe I have now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Furina, and we've already proven that she's not the Hydro Archon.
Mhm.
So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real Hydro Archon we've been kind of talking about?
Aus Egeria.
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stone slates.
Huh.
However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Die Zusammenhänge zwischen den Inhalten der Steinplatte und den Ereignissen im wahren Leben. Wir haben das, dass sie zu einem Okani gemacht wurde. Und eben halt von einem Okani zu einem Menschen. Wir haben die eine Szene mit dem Thron, wo sie am Tränen ist. Doch die eine Szene, wo sie ins Wasser getaucht ist, ist nicht zu sehen.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other 3 stone slates. Paimon will do her best to help you remember.
Mir fehlt gerade das zweite oder dritte. Eins fehlt mir komplett gerade. Okay, überprüft die Beschreibung auf den Steinplatten, um ihnen wichtige Informationen zu entnehmen. Du kannst nachher dich auf die Inhalte der Steinplatte beziehen, in denen wir im Interviewhandbuch aufgezeichnete Vorfälle finden. Damit kannst du diese Inhalte nachprüfen. Während der Prüfung vorgesetzt wird, steigt der Wasserstand des Brunnens im Menü an. Wenn du alle Steinplatten überprüft hast, wird sich die Wahrheit hinter der Prophezeiung offenbaren. Oh, jetzt bin ich gespannt. Okay. Huiuiuiuiui.
The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power, and then the Oceanids turn into humans.
Yep. Okay, und das zweite Bild war, wo sie auf den Knien waren, Celestia angebeten hat oder irgendwie so.
Does that mean that Fontanians are transformed Oceanids?
Ja.
Oh, Paimon wasn't expecting that. But if Oceanids can turn into humans, then perhaps this process can be reversed as well.
Okay. Das heißt, eigentlich sind alle, die da sind, Oceanids, also Oceanids. Deswegen waren sie auch alle Oceanids in der Erinnerung dieser komischen Dings, graue Welt oder wie auch immer, wo Navia war für eine kurze Zeit, bevor sie gerettet wurde von Neuvliat.
The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still brought judgment down upon them.
Ja.
This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontanians were branded with their original sin.
Yep.
Does this mean that the original sin and the Hydro Archon sin are the same thing?
Könnte sein.
The third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people.
Yep.
That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to someone else?
Nein, mir fällt's nicht ein.
Well, the
Navia.
fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontanians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea, the Hydro Archon crying on her throne, and so on.
Ja.
We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after that incident, it was just a question of when and not if.
Yep. Können jetzt die Verbindungen machen. Okay, das erste. Wahrheit überprüfen. Wie sich aus kann das wohl... Das hier, oder?
We
Yeah.
know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women that Fontanians can be dissolved in primordial seawater.
Yep.
And the first stone slate tells us that long ago the Hydro Archon used her power to turn Oceanids into humans. This might be the reason that Fontanians can dissolve.
Yep. Okay, damit hätten wir das ersten. Dann das hier. Versier für kurze Werbung. Na, fass uns mehr. Das ist das hier. Ja, Wahrheit überprüfen, das nehmen wir von Navia, weil das ist ihr Ding.
It's not as simple as falling into the sea. When Navia fell into the sea, her consciousness was subjected to judgment. The
Yep.
stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon in the sea. Could that be alluding to the same thing?
Das könnte gut sein. Okay. Dann hier Wahrheit überprüfen. Das hier. Nachdem das Gericht bewiesen hatte, dass Verena keine Göttin ist, befand die Obertrichtin höhere Verschuldung empfängt die Todesstrafe. Nein? Okay. Vielleicht das hier? Nein? Okay, dann hier. Nein. Vielleicht das dann? Ja.
Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened before. The
Okay.
true sin of the Hydro Archon that Nervilette mentioned, and the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine by Celestia, as recorded on the stone slates.
Ah, okay, und jetzt das letzte. Das ist es.
Prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society, but not many people believed it at first. The
Mhm.
fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause
Entschuldigt.
Fontanians to dissolve. It seems increasingly likely that the prophecy may come true. If
Oh,
we
ja.
hadn't dealt with it in time, things could have gone very badly.
Wir haben es gelöst.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater, converge, and take the form of an Oceanid.
Yep.
The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps this means that her sin was actually Fontaine's original sin.
Ja, das könnte es sein.
Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness, and was forced to take part in a trial meant to make her stay.
Ja, und das hat sie auch zum Glück
The
überlebt.
eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meropide was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass no matter what.
Yep, und es scheint immer mehr zu sein.
The prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we combine what we know together, loads of truth should come to light.
Jetzt bin ich gespannt. Die Wahrheit. Überprüfung abgeschlossen. Oh boy, jetzt bin ich gespannt. Drücken? Ja, oh boy. Oh boy.
Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now. So that's how you can make sense of it.
Hmm.
But then it feels like we're going to have to share some truly shocking revelations.
Das war zu erwarten.
Let's hear them.
Die erste Steinplatte verrät das.
Incredible. Linny, did you hear that?
We're not real humans.
All Fontainians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their basis.
Mhm.
The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontainians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial, all of them in the shape of Oceanids.
Ja, voilà.
Indeed.
Die zweite Steinplatte verrät, dass die Sünde des Archon besteht darin, dass er die Menschen von denen erschaffen hat.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient sin.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese. The twists of history are often the most unexpected of all.
Was die dritte betrifft, ich bin immer noch davon überzeugt, dass sie nach der vierten Steinplatte kommen sollte.
Yeah, isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea?
Ja.
So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate?
Die zweite zeigt die Erfüllung der Prophezeiung, wie sie bereits allen bekannt
In
ist.
the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Did Paimon get all that right?
Okay, eine Mahlzeit später.
You've made some
So.
keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect so many pieces of the truth.
Voll
However,
ernsthaft.
while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer of hidden information using a different power source.
Okay, und ich nehme an, du kannst sie rausziehen?
When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. But since we only had 3 slates at the time, I was unable to come to a full conclusion.
Aber jetzt kannst du, also, oder wie?
Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded within. If everything goes well, we should finally be informed of the unadulterated truth.
Okay. Jetzt bin ich gespannt. Was hast du rausgefunden, Wert?
Well, did you get it?
Ich hoffe mal.
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. I will try to briefly summarize it for you.
Okay, jetzt bin ich sehr gespannt.
Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontainians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were both correct.
Okay, aber etwas anderes war falsch, oder?
In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land.
Okay.
The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind.
Huh, okay.
However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the 7, did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea.
Ich finde es komisch, dass im in der Synchro wird sie gesagt, also she, aber im Text ist er. Weird.
She poured primordial
Ja, auch schon
seawater
wieder.
into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process.
Huh.
But if Fontainians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their original forms as Oceanids.
Huh. Entschuldigt.
Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race.
Und deswegen eben halt verspottet von Celestia.
And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into being.
Das ist richtig krass, ey.
So you... We were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
Ja.
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard a single thing. Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
Ja, das ist auch wahr.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontainian, but it does answer a lot of our questions.
Oh ja.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, correct.
Was soll denn die dritte Steinplatte darstellen?
A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans rather than Oceanids.
Okay.
They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the primordial sea.
Aber normales Meerwasser, oder
The
wie?
nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment and justice.
Huh, okay.
You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who
Ja.
intended to hold a trial to determine her fate.
Stimmt.
Therefore, the meaning of the third slate is
Jetzt bin ich gespannt.
that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice.
Was soll das etwa heißen?
Yes, it refers to our present situation.
Ha, und jetzt sitzt sie eben halt alleine auf ihrem Thron.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even though we decided to put on this trial to avoid fulfilling the prophecy,
Haben wir sie eigentlich erfüllt?
in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold. So now, it seems, we're the ones making sure it comes true.
Was zum Teufel?
What should we do?
Es fühlt sich so an, als gäbe es keinen Ausweg.
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled. Is this what it feels like to be a prisoner of fate?
Fühlt sich ein bisschen an wie die Welt von Attack on Titan, wo alles festgesetzt ist.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also be fulfilled soon?
Na, wenn wir den letzten drei nachgehen, ja.
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deductions.
Was denn?
About the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served as the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass, yes?
Ja.
However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only be a small warning of something far worse to come.
Eine kleine Warnung? Bitte was?
As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once before.
Warte, heißt das etwa? Der endgültige Beweis. Das ist die wahre Ursache der Katastrophe.
This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause of the disaster.
Also wird der letzte Punkt wahrscheinlich jetzt ausgeändert. So, Wahrheit überprüfen. Das hier, oder? Hier, der Wal im Traum. Du hast total in deinem Traum Meer betreiben sehen, so wie ein unfassbar großer Wal, der vor ihm schwamm.
It was both dream and reality.
Es ist der riesige Wal. Wir sind so im Arsch.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
Yep. Wir haben so ein fettes Problem.
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of the disaster.
Yep. Oh Gott. Gelöst. Was?
That was way too close.
Yep.
How did that thing just burst into the opera house? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
Ganz genau.
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an appearance here.
Was, uns umzubringen, oder was?
That whale does not belong to Teyvat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping all the while.
Oh. Okay, von Planet zu Planet,
It has
okay.
been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main cause for the rising sea levels.
Huh.
And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea, its next step will be...
Die große Welle.
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontainians out of Oceanids, she filled their blood vessels with primordial seawater.
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontainians nigh impossible to resist.
Ja.
Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the form of Fontainians.
Oh, Jesus.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the people again once it's managed to recover its strength?
Absolut.
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely come onto land far sooner.
Aber er hat sehr viel Lebensenergie aufgegeben. Also, wir wissen ja, wenn er seine V-Legacy benutzt, dann raubt das seine Lebensenergie. Und die hat wahrscheinlich extrem viel gerade geraubt.
From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
Ja, voilà. Er hat wirklich schon sehr angeschlagen ausgesehen.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out like this.
Nee, nicht wirklich.
Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy, all we need to do to stop the prophecy would be to find a way to beat it up, right?
Eigentlich schon.
It is too late.
Was meinst du damit?
It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, it has become practically integrated with the sea itself.
Ach, super, das klingt ja sehr vielversprechend.
Even if the entirety of Teyvat were to be destroyed, it could still survive and swim off towards some other world.
Das heißt, wir sollen was machen dann?
That's not something I will accept. We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true culprit. We've come so far. You can't just tell me that the last hurdle is some impossible foe. That's just not fair.
Indeed, that's not how a grand performance should end.
I'll fight it to the end, no matter what.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
Naja, wie könnte man das stoppen?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future.
Der Moment der Wahrheit, ha? Was hat sie gemeint? Nach all unseren Anstrengungen konnten wir nicht gegen das Schicksal ankämpfen. Warte, wenn es hier nur um Schicksal geht.
Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could things be happening in hidden corners where the gods' gaze does not fall?
Huh.
Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Teyvat's future. All you need to do is to play your part.
Okay. Könnte es sein, dass selbst wenn die Prophezeiung in Erfüllung geht, immer noch eine Möglichkeit gibt, alle zu retten? Möglichkeit besteht. Habe ich etwas übersehen? Ja, ich habe vorhin auch vollkommen vergessen. Was wollte sie mir in diesem letzten Mal in diesem riesigen Zauberschrank sagen? Was ist ihr wahres Geheimnis?
What's happening with the aura trees?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.